Hey guys, it's Robert Earl. Before I start the video, I wanted to tell you something that maybe you can help me with. Now, it's October, I think, 25th, 2017. So if it's 2019 and you watch this, forget about it. But I need this right now. So if you're watching this as I put the video up, I wanted to kind of put a bug out there because there's so many of you throughout the country and throughout the world. Now, the ones in the country maybe can help me. I need a radiator, an antique vintage radiator, one of those old ones you see people when they remodel their house, they throw them away. I need one for the bathroom here. I've been looking for one. I really don't want to finish the bathroom heating system without a radiator. Ideally, what I'd like would be 3 or 4 tubes, I guess, channels, whatever they call them, 3 or 4 of those about that high, which is 24-30 inches high, ideally. But beggars can't be choosers, especially when you're dealing with something that's old. I'm trying to match it up to my 1913 American radiator, Rococo style radiator. But I'll take anything I can get. If you guys have any access to them or know where there's one, let me know. Either put a message here in the video, call me, email me, let me know, because I really, really want one for this bathroom, and that's something you can help with. And yes, I'm willing to pay for it and pay the shipping for it. I just need a radiator. Okay, let's start the video. Hey, pal. Oh, yeah. It's a lovely morning, isn't it? Look, the people are here this morning to join us. Hello, people. It's Robert Earl out here at the Eco Ranch in Far West, Texas. It's a nice October day, nice and brisk. We don't get a lot of brisk days, we get a lot of very hot days. But today's a nice brisk day. And I'm going to start a project that is going to be near and dear to most men's hearts. And that's going to be making some workbenches, a workstation for me. You know, I'm finally to the point where I'm starting to do some of the finish work, as I've kind of teased people with, you folks with rather. With the guest bathroom and the pallet wood. And to do the finish work, as any of you know, especially if you're good carpenters, it takes space, and it takes a clear workspace. That's something I lack. That's something I don't have around here, is a clear workspace. So today, what I'm going to do is, out of all reused, repurposed material, I'm going to make 2 more workbenches. And make myself a work area where I can actually take big pieces of plywood and cut them down on the table saw and do the things that we need to do to finish a house. So the first step is going to be to take these doors. Now I got 4 doors that came from the rest areas at the National Park. I get distracted because Nemo's behind me there eating his hay, and he's got this hay bag swinging. Anyway, I got these doors from a contractor who remodeled the rest areas at the Big Bend National Park, and I got 4 of the doors. He had a whole bunch, and I could have got them all, but I didn't want to be selfish because other people did eventually take them all. And I also got 30 glass windows from him. He had more than 30, but I got 30 glass windows, and we're going to be doing an interesting project with those later on. But what to do with the doors? Well, 3 of the 4 doors are good. The 4th one is that's going to go down from something for me to stand on. The other 2, I've already built 1 bench. We're going to make the other 2 into benches, give me a workstation, and get my stuff, my power tools and my stuff, first of all organized, and second of all in an area where I can protect it from the poultry, because you got to see this mess we have. I'll show you that in a second. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this with all, as I said, reused material. Now, in the vlog that I just did, I showed where I had 2 piles of wood. One that was wood that I was able to reclaim, and I got on that pile 465 linear feet of 2x4s. I had another pile that I said was all firewood. Well, I looked at that, and it looked like some of it was good. It's in a pile here in my garage anyway. I got to get it out so I can park 300K back in the garage. So I'm going to take and cut what's good out of that, cut the rest into firewood, stack it neatly, and when I come back, I'll have that all done, and we'll start building my benches. But let me show you the mess I got to clean up, because you won't believe this. Or maybe you will if you're a man like me. You do know what a mess looks like, because most of us have a mess for a work area or even a desk. Let me show you. Now my stuff is spread out into two areas. This is a scaffold I should be using to build, to go up and do more rock work. And that's what we're about to start right now. But I'm using this as a table for my tools. The chickens don't seem to get up on here. Now in the guest bedroom, this is the worst area. In the guest bedroom, I have a piece of OSB that is sagging and about to break, where I have all my tools, my nails, my screws, you name it, it's here. And the chickens are laying eggs on it. Not a good situation. My PEX is all messed up. My PVC. And there's the windows for the house, and you can just barely see Debbie's little artificial Christmas tree that they dragged out and were dragging around. So this is the mess I have to deal with here. And we're going to get working on organizing that right now. Hey, so while I'm in the middle of trimming up this firewood, it occurred to me that I had something else that I had to do with it. And I thought I'd show you guys just because you might be interested. Now, if you've ever done any work in your house, the odds are if you have a newer house from, say, 1960 forward, you've got wallboard, drywall, sheetrock, whatever you call it regionally. You've got that for your walls. Now, if your home is older and you've tried to get into the walls, you've come into that lath and, the lath. And the lath is a plaster mix or a mortar mix that, as you all know, it's got little strips. They've got a gap in them. And you put the mortar over those strips, and they used to put horsehair in it to just kind of give it a little more strength. But you take the mortar and you put the mortar over the lath. Now nowadays we've gone to a steel that holds the plaster very well. But in the old days they had the lath. The lath, you put the plaster on, it went through the cracks, and then it gapped it a little bit. It sagged because of gravity. Well, that sag created what they called a key. Now, the problem is you can't find lathing today. Unless somebody gives you a whole bunch of pallet wood or old firewood. Let me show you what I can do with this twisted piece of 2x4 that's no good for anything else. And so there you go. I took this twisted, lousy piece of wood and turned it into lathing that you can't buy in any store anymore. Now I'm going to have to cut the bad pieces out, but I'm going to start doing the lathing so that when it comes time for me to do my plaster work in the house, I have the lathing ready to put on the wall. Now, a question would be, well, why don't you just use the mesh? Again, money's tight. I'm always complaining about money. And the lathing is $7 a sheet. And I believe the sheets, and somebody can correct me on this, but I believe the sheets are either they're 2x6 or 3x6. And they're almost $8 a sheet. Where this was free, and it just covered in what it took me like 5 minutes, not 4 minutes to cut this. This will cover as much area as one of those sheets will. And there's a warmth and a charm to the old style plaster, thank you, that you can't get with some of this new stuff. You can get close, but when I see, this is where I vary from the guys on this old house. When I see Tommy Silva putting up a styrofoam crown molding and then putting joint compound over it, it ain't plaster. And you'll see the difference when I work on the bathroom in here. But anyway, now I gotta find a place to start stacking this that's gonna be chicken proof, because otherwise I'll be carrying it around. So I finished with that stack of firewood. Now remember, that was stuff that when I first looked at it, I said, it's no good, it's only good for firewood. So I already got my 465 square feet of 2x4s out of here. Okay, so I finished with that stack of what I called firewood when I first went through it. So I had separated out the firewood. Got the wood that is good, that I salvaged. The 465 linear feet of 2x4s there. Now, what I was able to pull out was 36 linear feet of 2x4s. That should be enough to build these two tables with. But also, the stuff that wasn't good enough for to use for the tables, but was a little bit too good for firewood, I took and cut up into the lathing, like I told you. Now, as far as the lathing goes, I got 192 square feet of lathing coverage, and actually it's a little more than that because I forgot to figure the 1/4 inch gap you put between each lath. So you might, let's just say over 200 square feet of coverage for my lathing to do my natural plaster with, out of just junk. Now I've got plenty of firewood out there that I can cut up and plenty of pallets that'll also make more lathing. But this gives me a start on the lathing, and 192 or 200 square feet is enough to do like a good wall and a half in a typical bedroom. So it's off to a good start. So let's move on now and finally start those tables. So before I finish the section about building my workstation and showing you how I'm turning these old doors into workbenches, I thought I'd better tell you we had a weather front come through last night. The wind is out there howling and going down and howling and going down. So I don't know how good the audio is going to be when I go out there. So I just thought I'd warn you. I'm going to go ahead and put the video together and put it up. If the audio is terrible, I understand that. I'm sorry, but I've tried, but I can't control the weather. Well, folks, the wind is being utterly rude today. It won't let up, and it's blowing like crazy. I'm not sure if you can hear me, as I said. But I got to finish these today because I'm getting tired of sitting waiting. I don't need 4 roosters crowing at once. I need to finish this. I get tired of doing nothing. So what I've done here is, again, used all the, I did use all of that wood that I showed you. And I've got everything cut up into 2 legs. Now I have to put the 2 legs together. The legs get 2 cross braces, 1 in each diagonal corner. I guess I'm holding it wrong, but anyway, 1 in each corner diagonally. And they'll also, to keep the legs from racking, and they'll also need a structural support this way to keep it from racking. So I'm going to get going on nailing those together. And so the legs are built. Got diagonals in them to avoid any racking. Nice and put together. Nailed them together with the twisty screws that was in the wood I got to begin with. They were twisty screws, twisty nails. So they'll hold together just fine. Now I've got to attach them to the tabletop here. The way I'm going to attach them to the tabletop is some of these doors came with they came with automatic closures, you know, the ones, the big industrial heavy ones, and they had used these screws to hold them down nicely. These screws go right through the doors and grip tight, or they wouldn't have gripped those automatic closures for 30 years. So I'm going to drill out and use these screws to attach these here. Then again, I do have to put some more wood on for racking. So let me get these up and screwed in. I'll show you the diagonals then, or the cross members. Okay, here's the table. It's done, it just has to be turned right side up. Now, I just want to go over a couple of things. You can see the way I've got it set up here. I've got the diagonals here to prevent racking on the legs this way, and I've got these diagonals here to prevent racking of the whole table this way. That way I can put a whole bunch of weight on it. I've already stood up here to attach all this. So this is ready to go. What I've done now, just to recap it, the door came from came from a rest area in Big Bend National Park. It's an old door. That came from there. I reused some of the screws that were in the door to attach the legs. The legs are all the 2x4s that I got for free that I was going to use for firewood, and I was able to salvage quite a bit of. All the nails in here, I salvaged those nails from the firewood. Most of them were twisty nails, so I didn't have to use screws. I did use a very few of my own screws, but even those came out of a gate that I no longer need, that I'm dismantling. So everything here, 100% repurposed, recycled, reused, and I've got 3 really nice workbenches. Now I'm going to put these together and make a workstation, show you the workstation when I'm done, and that should be it for this little video. And the wind continues to blow, but my work area is done, my tables are done. I hope you enjoyed watching how I repurpose these things into tables, and maybe encourage you to do it. Cost me nothing, and look at what I've got. I've got my chop saw set up right there, so I can cut in this direction with the chop saw. Over here is my table saw, so I can put a 4x8 sheet of plywood or paneling or something on the table and slide it forward. For the moment, I've got all my power tools here. Of course, ladies, you all know that the only time that a man's work area looks this neat is when he first puts it together, or when you get done straightening it up so that he can't find any tools. But it's done, and I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, and hopefully the next time it won't be such a windy day, it's Robert Earl out here at the Eco Ranch in Far West Texas saying that, and see you later.